I have a question here from on Facebook, from Linda Onorode. Your question says, in my opinion, can Nigeria ever raise a leader like Mandela, and what must we do to get to that point where Nigeria can bet such a profound legacy? Well, Linda, my answer to you is simple. Nigeria can raise a leader like Mandela in the likes of what Mandela stood for, not as in the person who Mandela is, because I understand and I believe that the likes of Nelson Mandela are just one of those who will pass through this lifetime once and never again. But the legacies left by such leaders are for people to learn from them. I would, when we lost Mandela, one of the things I said and I believed in is that we should have a Nelson Mandela school of leadership, where leaders should go and learn about the virtues of the man called Mandela. I mean, he was the normal man, but there are certain virtues of him which will remain forever, and I believe we could have such leaders. It wasn't the office who made Mandela a leader. It's not the office that made him. It was who he was and how he was blessed. And I believe Providence put him in the light where he became a symbol of a struggle for a nation, and at the end of the struggle was able to use forgiveness as an instrument to ensure that the legacies of the struggle will endure for a lifetime. I believe we can do that. There's also another question from John Usifo. John Usifo, you said you're asking, well, you said I'm an inspiration to Deltans. Thank you very much, particularly the youth who aspire to follow your footsteps and replicate your accomplishments in both politics and business. What word of encouragement do you have for the youth of Delta State in achieving their dream? Well, it's simple. For me, John, I want to thank you if you see me as an inspiration. I very much love to mentor the youth because I became a success as a young man. And I believe that the only thing that pushes young people into things that are uncomely is make them not believing in their abilities or not believing that they can become the best anybody can imagine. But I tell you, it happened for me, and if it can happen for me, I believe it can happen a million times over for them. And I'm more than willing at any time to be a mentor. But the only word of encouragement I have is that the young ones must not eschew hard work. Hard work is the basic foundation for ensuring enduring success to come in the future. There are times where you get disappointed, but your hard work will sustain you through that period. Now, John Ode, there's also a question from you. You said, Mr. Speaker, sir, no doubt you have done a lot for the people of Aniocha North and Delta State as a whole. But to crown your career as a public servant, what would you like to be remembered for? John, that's also tough. But what I'd love to be remembered for will be legacies for which I stood for. And I believe the strongest legacy I want to leave at any point in time is the legacy of integrity, where my word would remain my bond. And if I say to you, this is black, go to any part of the world, it will remain black, and nobody will change that. And that's one very strong point for me. I'll be glad to be remembered for my integrity. Now, Tamuno, you said they say behind every successful man is a supportive woman. What role does your wife play in supporting your dream of a better Delta State? Well, I must tell you, Tamuno, that yes, my wife is a pillar of strength. You know, in the area of prayers, she is a very prayerful woman, and I must not tell you that I can't lie that I have all the time in the world because of my schedule to sit down and take my time to commune with God. But I'm sure in the place of prayer, she intercedes for me a great deal, and it's quite a strength for me, I must tell you. And the other family issues, because of my hectic roles, of course, I cannot be part of the home at all times, but she's always there for the children, and their normal lives will go on while I serve the public. Without her doing or playing all of this supportive role, I'm not sure that my dream for a better Delta can be achieved because I need to concentrate on the dream. Otherwise, if I'm distracted quite easily, then I'm going to have issues with that. Now, I'm just going to try to look through further down what you have. There's a question from Mary. And Mary says, you're new to this forum on politics in Nigeria. Can Victor tell you what motivates him and how come he's so well liked by the people he serves? Well, my motivation is making people happy, Mary, and doing my best at the end of the day, and I know that I can search my conscience to say that I have done well. I have earned my very salary, as meager as it is for that day. Mary, I'm a very happy person. And I wouldn't know why they like me, but I think that should be a source of discourse for this forum. Since you're new to the forum, maybe you should make it a source of discourse, and then let people throw in their input. Some will also see reasons why they hate me too, but it makes all the balance. But I'm grateful and I thank you for that question. There's Patrick Kibuna. You said, Mr. Speaker, sir, I believe I speak for most electorates when I say I hold you in very high esteem. That your question, can it rightly be said that the governorship has been zoned to Delta North by all the political parties concerned? And if that is so, what would you consider the greatest threat to realizing this all-important goal actualization? Well, Patrick, there's no time when it was said that all political parties have zoned the governorship of Delta State to Delta North. I can only speak for the PDP. That's the party I subscribe to. And there is no such thing, categorically speaking, but if you speak from the point of sentiment and the point of equity and fairness, one will want to say the PDP has produced the governor from the central district. PDP has also produced from the South Central District. And Delta State is largely a PDP state, and it should be time for PDP to also produce from Delta North because the 3 Central Districts make up the state. And I don't think there's so much, there's no threats whatsoever to that because I believe the PDP is one party and they all come to an agreement once they decide as a party that this is where they are going to go to. So I do not envisage any kind of threat whatsoever. I believe that at the right time, the right thing should be done. But then again, it is not all-encompassing, but I still believe that the best man for the job remains the man who wants to do what Deltans will be happy for, whether you are from the north, from the south, or from the central. That will be my take for that, Patrick. And Chijoke, Daniel Odum, you have a question. My Honorable, what are your views on the rate of unemployment in Delta State? Well, Odum, my views remain the same, that it's a problem, it's a time bomb that we need to deal with as quickly as possible, otherwise we'll be running short of time. But I believe in Delta State that by the enactment of laws of certain agencies and departments which the Delta State House Assembly has put in place, and that of the policies of Governor Emmanuel Oduad of Delta Beyond Oil, by the time you synergize both enactment and the policies of the Delta Beyond Oil, there's going to be a great revolution which will create an enabling environment for jobs to be created. And I think the unemployment problem will be tackled a great deal. It may not completely be eradicated, but to a great extent will have been dealt with. And finally, there's one from Sani Mohammed. He says, Honorable Victor, compliments of the season. Hope all is well. Don't tell me you've forgotten how to speak Hausa that you learned when we were in Kano. Well, Sani, thank you very much. I have not forgotten the Hausa. I still have to say to you in a Hausa style, Nagode, Allah Kiaika, and all of that. In Anjimazan with Anhadu, Nagode in Katsani. So, no. And I think that's all from my friends on Facebook. I still expect other questions. As I have the time, trust me, I'll take your questions now, answer them as personally as I can. Thank you very much.